Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bettendorf Committee of the Whole meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 18th, 2022, and it's 6:30 p.m. We did not hold our Committee of the Whole meeting yesterday on Monday, January 17th, 2022, to the observance of the Martin Luther King holiday. We have two consent agenda items that are going to be discussed this evening. These are with regard to our letting of general obligation bonds to do work for essential corporate purposes in our city in the upcoming year beginning July 1 of 2022. And for a discussion on these two items, consent item B and C, we welcome our Finance Director, Jason Schatt. Jason?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, between the adoption of the budget and the sale of bonds, we're going to keep council very busy in the coming weeks. Tonight, we have two resolutions for your consideration. Both resolutions tonight are simply setting the public hearing on the proposition of the issuance of this debt, which is scheduled to be sold on March 1st. Tonight's resolutions relate directly and only to the debt related to the city's 5-year capital improvement plan. Any potential debt related to urban renewal will be considered separately should that become necessary. The components that we'll cover in the public hearings on February 1st include $10,195,000 of tax-exempt GO bonds. This is for essential infrastructure such as streets, sidewalks, alleys, bridges, and traffic signals. We're also going to move the debt we would issue for sewer improvements from a revenue piece into the GO piece. So that'll be tax-exempt GO bonds in the amount of $2,425,000 specifically for those improvements in the sanitary sewer system. And then finally, there is $700,000 of tax-exempt general corporate purpose GO bonds for improvements at Palmer Hills Golf Course. Baker Tilly, the city's financial advisor, has estimated the true interest cost on each of these components to be 1.92% with 19-year maturities. The debt service of these bonds is covered by the city's debt levy as adopted in the current year and is contemplated in future budgets. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any tonight.
Any questions? Greg, do you have any questions on B and C?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Obviously, these are things that we've talked about in our strategic plan and budgeting process and given you the list in the CIP of what, at least what we think we'd like to get done. And you and Brian and the group, thank you very much for your hard work and trying to figure out what we can get done and space those things out pursuant to our plans. I'd like to entertain a motion that consent item B as in boy remain on tonight's agenda for our general meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
I'd like to entertain a motion that consent item C remain on tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Any operational item in our very long list that any person would like to talk about this evening, having no operational items on tonight's agenda? Anything to be added today by mayor or by council? I don't have anything to add. Yes, we'll go first with Frank and then to Jerry.
Your Honor, it's not anything to be added, but I just, rather than do it during the council meeting, like to thank Public Works for their outstanding job on the second of two large storms that have hit our area. I thought they did an excellent job, had the pavement bare in a lot less than 24 hours for the public to drive on.
There you go, Brian. You're not even here to smile at us.
I know. Thank you so much, Frank.
Jerry, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to let you know, today John was down from Des Moines, from Healthy Hometown, from Wellmark, and they presented us. We have their report now.
The walkability assessment study is in your box downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I know passed a dozen of them on to Decker and didn't know if they made it to the box yet or not.
Oh, they're there.
All right.
That's where you got yours, isn't it, Scott? Hold that up for the public to see. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Anything else to be added? All right. If nothing else for the good of the order, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thank you. Good work. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bettendorf City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 18th, 2022 at 7 o'clock p.m. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Adamson,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Connors,
Here.
Nauman,
Here.
Sexer,
Here.
Baden,
Here.
Webster.
Thank you all for being here. Now, if you could all please rise, remove any caps or headdresses you may have, and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing as our invocation tonight will be given by Bettendorf Police Chaplain and pastor of Bettendorf Presbyterian Church, Pastor Troy Winder. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Troy, please.
And let us pray. Holy One, we give you thanks and praise for another new year, for new opportunities that are before us as a community, as a body, as a people. We thank you, God, for this chance, and we thank you for the blessings that you have given us so that we then can become blessings for others. Bless this council as it begins its deliberations and it does its business, that it too would bring blessings. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Very nice to see you. Okay, we have a special recognition tonight, and for that, I'm going to welcome representatives from the Scott County Emergency Management Agency and the Scott County Health Department. Brian Payne, Dave Donovan, Amy Thorson, Brooke Barnes, and others are joining us today. And if you would, Assistant Chief, join us here in the center of the room, Troy Sade.
We are.
Thank you. Go ahead, you guys have the floor. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. So on behalf of the Scott County Emergency Management Commission, the Scott County Emergency Management Agency, we want to recognize Chief Sade with a letter of commendation. So as we all know, through COVID-19, we all have different opinions, all kinds of stuff. It felt like chaos. It still feels like chaos to this day to a certain degree. The one thing that most people don't know in our community is the effort that Troy put in throughout, still to this day, but in the beginning of COVID. So for our agency, logistics was our primary responsibility, getting stuff in, PPE, N95s, all of that different stuff. I can tell you and the council here today that people's lives, our first responders' lives, not only around Scott County, regionally, and throughout the United States, were personally impacted because of your assistant chief. An example I'll give you, we were trying to find hand sanitizer. Troy was able to find the chemicals that Mississippi River Distillery needed, and by the time they had the chemicals, it was less than 7 days. They were producing hand sanitizer because of the efforts put in by your assistant chief here. And I will also tell you that that hand sanitizer made it all the way down to the state of Florida.
Wow.
That's just one very small example of the selflessness. I have so many great things to say. I can talk for hours. I'll be honest with you. And I know he's hating me right now that we're sitting here doing this. But to be very frank about it, he's selfless. I know for our office, we require partnerships, and the city of Bettendorf is an amazing partner to us. The hours Troy put in, the impact that had on our community, not only for our office, not only for Scott County, but regionally. At the state of Iowa through the state EOC, we've been stapled through our logistics as best practice, and a significant portion of that is because of Chief Sade. So on behalf of our office, here's a letter of commendation, and then we have a really cute shadow box for your office. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for shaking it.
Yeah.
We're okay.
And I just wanted to add, when we first met, which was 2 years ago, I didn't know you. And what a shame that was, because you are a tremendous asset to this community, to the wonderful ambassador for the city of Bettendorf, and a true example of a public servant. And I'm so grateful for the support you provided, not only logistics section when Brian said it wouldn't be much work, to all of the time you spent taking care of our team, taking care of the community, taking care of your colleagues at our clinic. And we could not have done many things without you and without the support of your colleagues and the city. So thank you for those efforts.
I told Brian I wouldn't talk, but I lied. Just a couple things I want to add. When I thought about tonight and what needed to be said about Chief Sade, two phrases come to mind. How can we help? And at the end of that, whatever you need. Those two phrases embody Chief Sade throughout this. And I too did not know Chief Sade very well until the last 4 years or so. I do want to add that I think that there's credit to be given other folks that are on the call, other folks that are in the room, to the leadership above Troy, Chief Kenorick, Decker Plain, Mayor Gallagher, the council. You all nurture an organization that allows people like Troy to flourish. So congratulations. Thank you, sir.
We actually wanted to present this award back in December, but it didn't work out when we presented the other awards to our 3 personnel. And so I had to be creative and ask Troy to attend the meeting for me tonight. Which is true, I needed him to attend. But this award is a leadership award and presented to Assistant Chief Troy Sade. Leadership award is given for any act, deed, or succession of deeds that exemplifies leadership beyond normal expectations. This includes actions of an employee who steps up and takes charge in difficult situations. This also includes personnel who show unusual initiative and leadership over an extended period of time. This award includes a certificate and a uniform citation bar. So on behalf of the Bettendorf Fire Rescue Department, I commend you on your actions and commitment in working with other key players in Scott County and Rock Island County COVID Emergency Operations Center, as well as your daily leadership of our department. Your dedication, actions, and open communication clearly demonstrate excellent leadership and your commitment to carrying on Bettendorf Fire's proud reputation of excellence in public service. Well, this awards program has been going on since about 2012, and I think we've only given a total of 5 or 6 pins now, but it's my pleasure to present this to you. Thank you, Chief, along with a pen for your dress uniform.
On behalf of the city, it's an honor and privilege to provide you with this leadership award, very similar, but not quite as nice as the one with all this writing from Chief Kenorick, so that's very cool. As the chair of the EMA and the chair of the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative, who is also looking for PPE for other mayors up and down our river, some 110 of us, thank you for the efforts that you undertook to ensure that you were looking for and finding quality so that those with whom you work and those up and down the river from other organizations could rely on your expertise. Lots of people up and down the river in our community were helped due to your efforts. On behalf of the great city of Bettendorf, we're very pleased to have you aboard. Thank you for your awesome efforts. Another certificate. We're proud of you, Troy.
The gift that keeps giving. First of all, I'm surprised all you guys kept a secret. I'll start with that, and I apologize, my back's been to you the whole time. So I just want everybody to know that I appreciate the recognition, but I was a very, very small part to this whole endeavor that we're still dealing with. What was great is you had the team of EMA, which I know some of you are familiar with, but if you don't know what they do, they're absolutely amazing. They brought all the partners together to make this work, and without their leadership and direction, we would have struggled. I mean, they had both major hospitals together at the table, along with other community healthcare groups, Medic EMS, SEC dispatchers, and then, of course, our health department. Amy and her team, Brooke, did an amazing job. They had to get all the information from the state, kind of decipher it, and come out with a game plan. And believe it or not, that's harder to do than it seems. So they put countless hours in it. And I guess I would end up with, everybody talks about our boots on the ground, our first responders, how important they are. they're the ones that truly make a difference out there. Everybody talks about it, but we got to keep moving forward with that. They're the direct impact to our community, and without them, we're in trouble. So those guys did just as much, if not more, for our community, delivering patient care to the people that truly needed it. They showed up to work every day. Absolutely amazing. So hopefully we continue to go forward to support them and retain them. So thanks again. I appreciate that. So that's it. You want your spot up here? I'm trying to get out of that.
Troy's family is here in the front row. Thank you all for being here. His lovely wife. Thank you all in the back. We appreciate all your efforts. Thanks for coming up here to be part of this ceremony and celebration, the great work that your departments do on a daily basis. So thank you for that. The next item on our agenda is a proclamation for Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and this is being presented to Maggie Tinsman, the chair of Breaking Traffic Advisory Council. Maggie, I'll meet you up here in the middle. Chief, thank you for joining us. I know you're an integral part of this effort as well. It's kind of a yearly event for us, and we're proud and happy to be able to do it. This is a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor of the City of Bettendorf. Whereas the United States was founded upon the principle that all people are created with the unalienable right to freedom, and added the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, making slavery illegal. And whereas human trafficking is a modern-day slavery, claiming millions of victims worldwide, and found in the United States, most often in the form of sexual exploitation, forced labor, involuntary servitude, and debt bondage. And whereas this horrific crime, which denies human dignity and freedom and fuels organized crime, exists in our very own community. And whereas, even though awareness of this crime is growing, human trafficking continues to go unreported due to its isolating nature, the misunderstanding of its definition, and the lack of awareness about its indicators. And whereas increased community education on how to identify victims of human trafficking, along with the increased knowledge of local resources and services for those affected by these criminal actions, can help restore freedom and dignity to identified survivors, as well as help diminish the number of future victims. And whereas fighting human trafficking is a shared responsibility, the efforts by our local law enforcement community to promote the yearly observance of Human Trafficking Awareness Month in January enacts one of the examples of the continuous commitment in the United States and here in the state of Iowa to increase awareness of and to actively eradicate human trafficking. And whereas the city of Bettendorf joins Breaking Traffic, a program of family resources, in their dedication to providing community outreach and education, legislative advocacy, and comprehensive services to survivors of human trafficking. Now, therefore, I, Robert Gallagher, the mayor of the city of Bettendorf, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2022 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and I urge all of our citizens to join in this observance, to be vigilant, and if you see something that doesn't look right, take action and call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888.
Here,
Here. Maggie Tinsman, thank you very much for your work in this regard. We appreciate that, and we welcome you to say a few words, as well as to receive our proclamation. Always nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Chief, for your work.
Well, I greatly appreciate Bettendorf's passing this proclamation that declares January as Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. As the initiator of the Iowa law making human trafficking a felony, and as you know, current secretary of the Iowa Network Against Human Trafficking and the founder of Breaking Traffic, on which the chief also serves, which is now part of Family Resources, we thank you once again for recognizing how important this issue is, because as I mentioned last year, but would like to repeat it, you and I realize that trafficking or slavery is occurring right here in the Quad Cities and is indeed hard to believe that it's right here in River City. So we need all our citizens to learn about trafficking or slavery so that we can become part of the solution to this heinous crime and let law enforcement know of something that they can investigate. I also would like to thank you for initiating a local massage parlor ordinance last year. I hope that your law enforcement personnel will continue to enforce it as well as to look for human trafficking whenever drug raids are initiated, as drugs and human trafficking are closely connected. Another issue I just want to mention to you all is the hotel motel training law that has just passed last year, the Iowa legislature. And thanks to Representative Gary Moore and Senator Robbie Smith, it began January 1st of this year, 2022. So I'm here to remind you that the law asks hotels and motels to train all of their employees on human trafficking using programs either through the hotel chain or the Iowa Network Against Human Trafficking. That includes temporary employees. And if they do, the Department of Public Safety will furnish them with a state certificate recognizing that training, which would be prominently displayed in their hotel lobbies. This will allow the federal government, the state, and your local government, that includes Bettendorf, to utilize this establishment for their activities. Otherwise, no government, including Bettendorf, will utilize that business which has not trained their employees in human trafficking. It's kind of a carrot and a stick thing a little bit. But 85% of sex trafficking is done in hotels and motels. Again, we would appreciate it if your council would talk to our legislators about the importance of this law so that in 2022 session, it will be funded. So it needs to hear from all of you. But I also handed out to you the 2022 NAHT priorities. And all three priorities are important. But I particularly ask you to talk to our legislators about increasing state funds for victim services by $10 million and include language for human trafficking. It's not included in the code. It says sexual abuse and child sex because there was no law for human trafficking when that part of the code was written. Also, we have to get the Attorney General, this is in the Attorney General's budget. We have to get, that I just found out today, that increase isn't in there. So we need to talk to anybody connected to the Attorney General, but also to Gary Moore, who is head of appropriations for the House, and he happens to be our Bettendorf representative, that we need that money for victim services. Also, adopting a safe harbor law which would protect minors from being accused of prostitution when forced into human trafficking is also very important. We have 30 states that have this safe harbor law that anyone under 18 can't be accused of prostitution. They are forced in by human trafficking in prostitution. But we aren't one of those. And so when Shared Hope does a survey of the whole United States, Iowa got an F. And I said, just a minute, we're doing a lot about human trafficking, but we're not doing that. So we need to really do that. In conclusion, I just guess I'd like to repeat that it's most important that our Quad Cities be free of an element that destroys basic human rights. Like you, we want our communities to be a family-friendly place of which we're extremely proud. So I thank you so much for the proclamation.
Chief, anything to add?
I just want to personally thank Maggie. I mean, she's been at the forefront of this issue for many, many years, long before it was even really known or acknowledged. And she's the one that got, like she said, she's one of the first ones to get the laws on the books in the state of Iowa to recognize human trafficking. So how many years ago has that been now? It's
2006.
so I mean, she's been, like I said, she's been at the forefront from the very beginning. I just want to thank you and applaud you for your efforts. And like and as you see, she's hitting all the city councils, county board of supervisors meetings, doing these proclamations this whole month. So thank you, Maggie.
Let's get a quick picture that we can put online with your proclamation.
Good. Okay. Does the mayor want to be in the middle?
No, you're in the middle. You're the,
Changing of the guard.
you're the guest of honor. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Great to see you.
Thanks.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
All right. Let's open public requests of council. Is there anyone here who wishes to be heard on an item that's not already on tonight's agenda for a public hearing, which would be every single topic known to man? Since there are none, we'd like to hear from you. Okay, there's nobody here for public requests of council. Let's undertake a review of our consent agenda and a motion to pass the same.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on consent agenda items for this evening? Greg, you have anything on consent?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. All right, Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Sexer,
Aye.
Baden,
Aye.
Webster, Webster's not here. Adamson,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Connors,
Here.
Nauman.
Aye.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Was it your motion and second? Who'd you write for the motion?
Rank.
For the second, Frank.
You wrote Frank for the second? And who moved?
Nauman.
All right, Norman, you didn't get the double up. Frank, thank you for your second. Are you okay with that, Frank?
That's fine.
We are adjourned.